How did you get by the laser field in the Great Hall?
Aha. The laser fields. Well.
Afternoon, everybody. Or good morning, I suppose, if you're out on the East Coast, or sorry, West Coast. Loretta, Okichi, Jesse, how's it going, everybody? I don't know exactly what I'm going to say, but I felt that I needed to say something. It's not going to be anything about data or any of that kind of stuff. Just some feelings and thoughts. I remember back earlier days of YouTube, Polly made a video and she talked about feelings that she had. And I was talking on the phone with her and I said, you know, I really, really respected that video. It did something for me because it's not just data, it's a person. And though I'm removed from this situation and my attachment to it is very tangential, being through Tara, who's a good friend, she and I had a good conversation this morning, and it gave me some really introspective thoughts. It was quite a peaceful conversation. Throughout this process, I've kind of remained somewhat detached in the sense that I just spit out data and I'm upset with the RCMP and how did this happen? But it really hit home something she and I talked about, and I won't get into it because it was personal, but the amount of lives that have been affected by this is just unbelievable. And the brave families that are left behind to try to pick up these pieces. And I hope in this process, I haven't offended anybody, because their grief and pain isn't something I can feel. Sorry. Don't mean to. I'm not a puss. I was actually looking for that shirt. It was an old shirt from when I used to ride rodeo, and it said on it, it was tough, and he said, "Don't be a puss." He always used to say that to Lane Frost. Anybody who knows bull riding, I used to bull ride a long time ago. And Lane Frost was killed, but he was a very Christian guy. I mean, he had his faults like we all do. And in that conversation, you know, I was talking with Tara, and she's like, "Oh, you know, I feel badly, and maybe I've mishandled some of this." And I said, you know, likewise. How do I know? I'm not, what I'm doing over here isn't stirring up pain or hurting other people. That wasn't the intent. That was never the intent of why I started doing these videos about Nova Scotia. It's not to hurt the RCMP. It's not to hurt any of these families that are going through just atrocious amounts of guilt. Sorry, not guilt, pain and grieving, just grieving. And Tara shared something with me that just showed the human side of this, and how brave some people can be. And it wasn't coming from her. And I was just like, this is exactly why I started doing YouTubes, because I believe in people. I have a lot of belief in people. I said since this all started, you know, because there's other components to this. There's the people who are, you know, there's YouTube drama nonsense and stuff. And I'm like, can we just not all put it aside? Who cares? Why? What are we here for? And so what this other person had shared was so touching, because it showed the humanity, just like Polly's video. Maybe this video the same for somebody. You know, I don't consider myself a weak person, and a person who is strong generally has feelings and doesn't keep those from other people. They let them be known that there's pain that they feel or whatever. And my pain isn't about me. It's about other people. All of us. The Nova Scotia shooting is just the latest incarnation of all the pain and trauma that we've all been through. All of us. Everybody here. Right? It's just such a horrific demonstration of it. And a lot of people, I think, throughout this process, I would think that there's a lot of people who are sitting at a crossroads. What do I choose to do? Do I choose to continue supporting this system? Do I continue to perpetuate the madness? Or do I want it to stop? Do I want to go back to a place that we should be, where we're not hurting each other, we're not harming one another, we're not fighting with one another, we're not having to go through traumatic events and deaths and crime and poverty and things. I don't even know exactly what I'm trying to say, but I can say that what I heard today gave me a whole different perspective on things too. On it just helped me sit back and see the gravity of all of this. You know, sure, there's numbers and there's facts and there's calls that weren't made and alerts that weren't done. But all of those people involved were people, whether it be the RCMP or other people. And what decisions are some of those people making? What decisions am I making? Am I making the wrong decision in doing what I'm doing? Is that hurting people? Is that opening up grief and pain in amongst a family that family members, and I'm just meaning that in a broad sense, because you have to think about that. 22 people died. There's hundreds of people's lives that have been affected so gravely they'll never ever be the same. And God does things for a reason. Somebody else, through this process, I'll share that too. Through this process, I've made some really good friends, and I count definitely you guys among them. The support that's come out for Tara, for all the families, right? Because that's just my connection. That's my only connection to this, other than I'm a human, is Tara. And but there's so many more. 22 lives lost, hundreds of people affected. And I sat and I was explaining to her, like, I see the lives that would have been, all of the walking and talking of babies that'll never be had, graduations that'll never be attended, marriages that somebody won't walk down the aisle. And how far does that go? It goes a long way, because those people have kids and the process of life continues. And, somebody called me the other night and they reached out to me and they said, I don't usually, I didn't know who to call. But I thought I'd call you and see if you could make sense of something that happened in their life, which was, you can't make sense of. And I said, I can't give you an answer. But everything happens for a reason. And we kind of talked about some more specifics of that a little bit. And I don't know if I helped. I hope I did. But the conversation I had with Tara this morning helped me. Likewise, that conversation did too with this other person, because they showed their human side, like Polly did in that video. And she just talked about her feelings and how, some of this is very depressing, can be at times really get to you. And isn't that what the evil in this world wants? It wants us to get down. The shirt I wore says on the back of it, if any of ye are in trouble, he should pray. Tara was pretty upset. And I said, why don't you go outside? Go for a walk. She's like, well, I think I might do some gardening. I said, I think that's a fantastic idea. Get your hands in God's soil. Look at what you're going to help grow, I'm going to go blow my nose. I seem like a wretched snotty. And I hope that I really have to extend my apologies to any pain that I am causing any other people, because that's not my intent. Because I'm so far removed, I can sit back at times and look at this and say, well, you know, in the desensitization that they put us through this whole entire millennia, you know, just keep hammering us with this stuff to get us down, and then we don't even look at each other as humans anymore, and we are humans, you know. I don't know if I'm connecting or if this means anything to anybody, but it does to me. It does to me because I never want it to happen again. And then I'm just searching. I've always been searching for a way out of this, an answer. So much of that starts with ourselves. I was talking with Tara about that too, the introspection, the mistakes that we make, that we're able to admit our faults, that we can make amends when we do, promptly admit them, make amends, try to learn from our lessons, extend that helping hand to other people. And I said that to Tara. I said, because she's like, she was pretty down because of some of the things I said. And, you know, I said to her, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings or anything. Like, that was not what I'm saying. And I said to her, look at how many hundreds of people you don't know personally who have come out, who have supported you through this, who have supported the other families. You know, and I come at it from that perspective a lot at Tara, because that's what I can hold on to. But there is so many other people. And so many people here who have come out, who feel that pain because that's what's touching you, right? That's why you're here, because you're human. You have emotions. You have been affected. The pain has hurt you, even though it's on the other side of the country, because you see Tara and that's what you see, or you read of the McCurdy's, or you read of the Blairs, or how Hyslop liked to hike, Lillian Hyslop. You know, and some of that psychological warfare, for sure, to attach to our hearts for the wrong reasons, sadly. But it's that pain, that human nature, I call it God, that says you want out. You want out, not out suicidally, not suicidal ideation or anything, but out of that circle that we're in, which is like a toilet bowl. It just keeps going down and down and down, and we become so frustrated. And what do we do? What do we do? I mean, that line, I always get so upset at that because I hear the resignation in people's voices when they say it. Well, what can I do? I feel it, I see it, I know it, but it's, and many people, you know, they don't say a lot, and then they'll say, but I'm too afraid. And that's what's defeating us, is this fucking fear. The fear. But to me, I hold on to the humanity I see from you, from what Tara shared with me today, from Tara, from Steve, from Adrian, all over the country. I've never met Steve or Adrian in person. I hope to one day, because I count them as friends, and I'm blessed. I count you guys as friends, and it's that special something that makes us human. The image, the likeness of God, right? We collectively have drifted away from that, and I don't mean that in an offensive way. And I take equal responsibility. I'm not above anybody else or below anybody else. I consider us all striving, not all, sorry, I should revise that. There are people amongst us who want to defeat us, use our own emotions against each other, pit us against one another, have us lost in bureaucratic mess. You think about the real simplicity of life. It's having kids, hoping to give them a better life than you had. And maybe once upon a time that was true, but that time has passed. We've lost that. And I try not to preach to other people, because everybody has to walk their own path. And I respect everybody's path. I try to respect everybody else's opinions, whether I agree with them or you agree with me. That's what makes us individuals. That's what makes life challenging and fun and painful and all kinds of things. And that's why, I was reaching for, how can I change this? How can I stop it? Stop it all. It has to stop. I'm just but 1 0 on the internet that is really insignificant. I have my own little life that I lead, and I try to do good works where I go. Had made a lot of mistakes in my life, a lot of mistakes. I've hurt a lot of people along the way. But I try to lead a better life today than I did yesterday. Tara said something else interesting yesterday to me. She said a line that I used to say quite a bit is, every day you get up, how much less you actually know, how much more there is out there. And I'll tell you, it's so true. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe, actually, I don't think that's probably a maybe. I think that is a reality. It is the data overload that we get hit with. And of course, the data that we get hit with, by and large, is negative data. Negative data. What happened down in Nova Scotia wasn't a false flag, as in people died, and lives got ruined. But out of that still emerges goodness and purity and strength and coming togetherness. Trying to, not the fake fucking hashtag bullshit. Like, no. And I'm not talking of putting a picture behind your name of a flag or any of this nonsense. I'm talking about emotions coming out, like in here in chat, you know, emotions that you have for one another. I think hopefully you guys, some of you has made friends with each other, because even though this has been such a tragic event, and like I said, I mean, who am I? I'm nobody. I live on the other side of the country. But we can come together. We can say that we don't appreciate what happened here. We don't want that to repeat. We want this cycle to stop. Not the fucking psychobabble nonsense, like the real root of who we are as people. Good people want good things. We want good things for one another. Celebrate other people's successes and grieve in other people's pain. Support them. I don't know if I'm even making any sense, but I just felt that I needed to say something. That I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm hurting other people. That was never my intent. I'm just trying to do what I can to help a friend, as are all of we are trying to do. All of us. It isn't a me, a little gray cells, a Seamus. No, this is all of us here, right? Friendships made, coming together, bonding, coming back to the way that we should be. And we can get there. I believe we can get there. I wouldn't be here. I don't think I would live anymore if I had resigned. And I'm not a person that resigns. You know, maybe I come off as a sopping mess today, but I think people who know me know I'm a fighter. But I pick my fights wisely. And the things I do, I try to do with careful thought, even though I make mistakes and I fuck up. I guess, you know, I just hope that people forgive me when I do and give me a chance to rectify that and carry that forward into somebody else's life if I can. Share what I've learned, little I've learned, and learn from them. Listen so carefully. You know, that's why I'll tell you one thing. I detest the fact that chat, you know, I love chat, right? But I wish I could have all of your thoughts here. Real time. I could be having conversations with everybody. I'm not missing a thought that goes by here. Because they're important. They're your feelings. They're your thoughts. And I actually literally do stay up some nights and I'm like, I missed so much. I missed all these things. I don't want to. I don't want to miss your thoughts, and because they're important. I value them. I value people. Greatest of these is love. Yeah. Corinthians 1:13. Such an amazing passage. The greatest of these is love. Love is human. Love is human. Love is pain. Love is me sitting here looking stupid in front of the world. And if people want to bug me about that, so be it. I don't care. I don't think people will, because if they look deep enough, they see that it's I've always marked it as a sign of courage. I said to Tara today, the thing that she shared with me, I said it took a lot of courage for that other person to do what they did. A ton. And I was like, wow. Just wow. That 7,000-ton phone, to pick up. Ooh, do I want to do that? Maybe the same kind of as making, not anywhere in the same realm, but in terms of gravity, but kind of making a video exposing your humanity rather than just sitting here and piping off facts, or I've made mistakes, and but I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry for if I have caused pain. I have the best of intent at heart, and thank you, because I have made so many new friends since this all started. Right? I lots of new people have come into my life via the internet. It's very distant, and I would say it's very impersonal. It's like text. I used to hate, I still do. I still have a loathing for text. I have a loathing for tech, period, because it just, it separates us. But then again, there is a positive side, because it gets people together that normally would never be together. I never would have met Dara. Ever. But God wanted that, right? It's how we use it is it's how we use it. When I was in high school, sorry. When I was in high school, I used to do things, lots of things. Anyways, I had a cell phone. Most people didn't have cell phones and things like that then. But I always hated the fucking phone, even before cell phones were around. I hated the fucking phone. I'd drive across the city to go and see my mom at her office rather than phone her, just because it's personal. Not that I have a particularly close relationship with my mother, but I didn't want that barrier. I wanted to see her face. I wanted to hear her emotion, to feel it, to know it. And tech gets in the way of that. It does. Emails and texts, and they can be convenient, but they drive a wedge between us too at the end of the day. You can't communicate emotion with somebody, you can't truly understand what a person is. I mean, on the most simplistic levels, you can't even hear sarcasm. Is a person joking? I don't know. Autocomplete, fucking it up, and people sending the wrong thing to the wrong people. Because that's not the way it's supposed to be, despite what they tell you. But it still has its advantages. This has its advantages. You have your advantages. And you have power. And that's what I try to communicate. I try. I don't know if I succeed. That we have power. That this fucking negative garbage that they hit us with constantly, barraging us with, or telling us the way that we need to be, steering us away from who we really are supposed to be, forming us into something else. Hard people, shelled people. Anyways, my monologue going on and on and on. Let's have a look at what you guys have to say, because it's important and I want to hear it. I like that. That's another thing, like the fucking Twitter. I can't get back to everybody, and they give me such important things, and I miss things. And do I say the right thing to that person? Am I thanking them enough? Am I, acknowledging them? Because we all need to be acknowledged. We feel that. And we are broken. We're all broken. Darcy and P is broken. But we're all broken. But that doesn't mean that we can resign. It really doesn't. It means that we have to, that crossroad. Do you want to choose to be broken? Or do you want to choose a different path? And I think we can choose that different path. That's the disaffected stuff. That was why Trump got elected. If you really, all the money and everything, if you put everything aside, what is it really about? I'm not by any stretch anymore a fan of Mr. Trump. I've learned enough about him, but it was just that disaffected feeling that we feel inside. It's got to stop. Stop it. Let's see here. Loretta. Back in the day, when crime was made, names were given, and even common people attempted to assist in stopping that crime. Look today, they don't want others to assist. Yeah. You got a flat tire on the road. How many people do you think stop? There still are people. And those people need to be vaulted, because those qualities are heroic. They are just human, right? But in this day and age, those need to be celebrated, really celebrated. Honesty. Somebody who you give you too much change at the store and you give it back, or no, don't worry about it. No, I pay my way. I pay my way. I know your business runs because you have to make money. The protests, the petitions, I don't think they touch people. It's the people who touch people. It's just letting people know. I drive down the street now. I drove by yesterday, somebody, when I was doing some volunteer stuff, and because that involves driving around, and I I saw him and he was walking, elderly man, and I didn't wave. You know, I go out to my ranch, people wave. They don't even know me necessarily on the roads, but they'll wave always. I love that quality. And I was like chastising myself as I drove by this man. You know, I'd driven by him by that point, but the thought was immediately started to click. Like, you didn't say good morning. People once upon a time would talk to people they didn't even know. Hey, how's it going? Hope you have a super day. Top of the morning to you, right? Yeah. Little Miss So. What else can you do? Your speech is yours and yours only. Do not allow anyone to tell you otherwise. Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't allow other people to shut you down. Don't allow other people to get you down. Know that your voice is important. You're important. Your feelings are important. Not everybody has to agree. Nobody, there's probably many things I have said people do not agree with, but that doesn't mean that makes me any less of a person. Likewise, somebody says something I don't agree with. They're not any less of a person than I am. They are to be equally heard and entertained. And funnily enough, when you open your mind, which I'm sure many of you already do and hear, but when you open your mind to people who say something completely opposed to what you say, you may learn there's some common ground that you guys can come to. I've found that. You know, I've learned lots of things about things I would never normally entertain. Plus, you know, if you want to defeat somebody in an argument, best to understand what they're saying. Not that I want to argue with people particularly, but whatever. Sometimes you have to pick your fights carefully. And say we can stand for it. Let's let them weaponize. It's an even field. It's hard to explain. It is. It's not an even field. If you truly think about it, they have us thinking that we're on the losing end of the stick. No. First of all, we have the numbers. We have the righteousness and goodness in our hearts. We have God, many of us. And that's a pretty powerful fucking weapon. And that makes people who are trying to defeat us quite afraid. They're really the ones that are afraid. The fear that they have constructed in amongst us, the trauma, and it does hurt. It's real, but it's also fake in many ways. They blow it up into something that it's not. Into something much more, you know. Where are the feel-good stories? It was a very good point, you know. Reporters used to report. And let's just say a case was in the court system. Somebody got arrested. You knew about it. What happened all the way to its conclusion. Now they just tell you somebody got raped. That's it. Move along. Next rape. Next murder. They don't tell you somebody got punished. That person is withheld. I did a video. I never released it on names. On names, it was just a point that I was making in a video about an individual person. But I uncovered that the police chief up in Edmonton got to, and this is widely spread, where he won't say individual murder victims' names because he doesn't want people to see that there's a problem in particular communities, to which there is. That's true. You can't say that it's not true. It's fact. But rather than acknowledging the fact, he chooses to selectively bury some people's names. And then he took that process to the police chiefs all across Alberta. And they signed an agreement saying, sometimes we'll release people's names and sometimes we won't. And then they say that it's privacy reasons or whatever. When there's no law on the books, there's zero. They just lie to you and tell you that so that you don't see that there's a problem. Because if you see that there's a problem, your instinct is to clean it up. My farming works grounds for me. Your farming work grounds you. Good stuff, Bruce. Awesome. Farmers suddenly, just like mothers, you know, mothers got suddenly dumped on for some reason. I used to say to my friend Ted all the time, if I could find the one asshole who started that, who said that mothers weren't valuable, that they were less than valuable, give me 5 minutes with them. We'll have a little chat. But of course, again, that's think tank garbage to destroy culture and community and family and everything. So stay farming. Farming is a good thing. Takes care of us. It feeds us. We're lucky. Real lucky. Blessed. Just know reward is not on this earth for those who believe. Just know your reward is not on this earth for those who believe. Doing good deeds, you don't need to talk about them necessarily. You just do them. Other people will see them. But you walk a hatred road by most society, and all you're doing is being caring, sharing, and standing by for yourself. We're upside down. Let them ironically, blindly hate it. Yeah. Hate the love. Bit of an oxymoron. God is in full control. Absolutely. We've strayed. That's our doing. But we can return. Religion has always been used for control. Religion has been used for control, but religion doesn't have to be done in a church or in an organized fashion. Religion is in your heart. That's it. Don't need to go to a temple. Don't need to give, or a synagogue or a church or a mosque. It's your relationship between you and God, and that's it. But you have a higher authority that you answer to. More than societal, more than just your mother and father. You have an authority that you have to answer to. Take off your shoes. Jesus loves you. I sure hope so. I know he loves me. Hey all. Howdy, Beth. How's it going? I think we are digging for the truth, because without the truth, family will never have closure. The family will never have closure. That's right. And then what is that? Is that your family? Is it my family? But you know what that is? That's collectively our family. Human family. We look at each other as threats now. Yeah, sad. People suspicious of one another. What is this person's motives? Many times, I'm not going to run around blow smoke up people's asses. We all know there are people who just are out for themselves. Me, because they've lost their way about looking out for each other, right? And yet, if we operate collectively with that looking out for one another, it won't become something that is lame or loser or wrong or suspicious. It will become commonplace again. And it'll be the people who do things that are kind of a bit self-centered or me-centric or immoral, that will be made just naturally. They will get ostracized. They don't need to be called names or anything. They'll feel it. They'll feel it. They'll see it in other people's eyes. They'll see the drifting away from themselves. And then it's just a natural introspection and correction we all go through if we are doing something wrong, right? God and demons or angels aren't going to save anyone. They're constructs of humankind. Well, again, to each their own. Everybody walks their own path. Where you are is where you are. Where I am is where I am. But I know that your opinion is valuable, even though it might not be mine. Get out of the cities and away from large populations. Plan. Critical thinking is needed for you and your family. Yes, but in that sense, remember, this isn't about, and I've noticed that, I talked about that before, about how they make YouTube videos and things like that. What was it called? I forget that guy's. He's very popular. What the hell was it called? And a lot of spurn off people kind of that way, or there were people who were doing it obviously beforehand. I forget his name. Anyways, and what was that about? Taking care of yourself, running off in the woods, hunting for yourself, fishing for yourself, none of which I disagree with. But is he taking care of anybody else? Nope. I'd say that's a little bit me-centric, possibly. Who knows? But why would you promote that removal from society? I'm going to run away from society. I'm going to retreat. Literally, like if it was a war, you're retreating. No, I'm not going to retreat. Fuck you, man. No way you're going to make me retreat. I know how to handle myself. Yeah, and I want to learn more about that, absolutely. But I also want to learn it so that I can help other people, Because just doing it for yourself, well, that's fucking selfish. We don't need that. What else happens to your mind and soul when you die? Well, different people, you got to entertain all kinds of different things. Some people say the body is just a vessel. Some people say there's a heaven. Some people say that's it. There's just different views, and everybody walks a path. They come to different stages. Sometimes, and many people know that from going to church when they were kids, right? They went to church. They kind of got instilled some values. Many people became very disaffected with that. Society was told. We were very told. And we are, all over the place. Nobody can disagree with that. That religion is not a good thing. And frankly, it is what you want. I don't like being told something's not good or bad. Let me make that choice for myself. Let me make an informed decision. Let me go and learn about other religions or learn about agnostic or atheistic thoughts. And I did. And I came back to something that worked for me. Doesn't have to work for everybody else. All it is just about where I'm at. That's all. Then it doesn't mean anybody who thinks something else is less than or more than. Unless they preach superior attitudes. That's a problem. That's a problem. Nobody else's work like yours these days. I crush girl crush Polly. Polly's great. I really do like her. One of these days we should get together and do a video again. She's good times. She's good times, and she works hard. She really does. And again, not everybody's going to agree with her, but she does have I believe very much so, people's good intentions at heart. According to Jolene's sister, Tara is a liar and only cares about her cut of the estate. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to leave that one alone. I think everybody is going through their own stuff, and I think that might not be quite the case. But if you, things change. And hopefully everybody just learns to get along on every camp, because that's, everybody's hurting. Real connectivity, thank you. Absolutely. Mind, body, soul, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. I talk to Tara almost daily, and I can tell you that she's not in this for the money. No, she's not. And she, you know, I can't speak for her. I won't speak for her. She can speak for herself. She's very articulate and has her own thoughts and feelings, and she's gone through a process through this whole thing. Some good, some bad, and she's a wonderful person and a great friend, and I'm lucky. I'm blessed to have her as a friend. Suicides and cowards. Get rid of cable TV. It's horrible. Suicides is, yeah, I ditched cable TV years ago. It's just, all it is programming, and tune out, disassociate from your reality. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. Of course, you know, we all need our outs, a book, TV, gardening, whatever the hell it may be. And we all have our hobbies and things, and we need those things to keep us, especially now, you know. Praying for me, it works. But again, that's everybody else does whatever they do. I play darts too. I don't know. It seems to be a dead thing. Nobody plays darts anymore. Families of the deceased do hard work and work together in these times. Reach out to her, make her and her family too. Regardless of society, that's what I wish. Families will, it's like life, you know, people will work together. Sometimes they won't, and everybody does their own thing. I think all of them are in the same boat. Hurt, and naturally so. Need answers. You know, maybe right now the grief is too much to see there. And that, I think that was another point I wanted to try and say, is that I am not further along, but because maybe I'm removed from the situation, they may get to that stage too somewhere where they want answers. There might be some people right now who are just too upset with it all, that they don't want to touch any of that right now. It's just dealing with the feelings inside and trying to come to some kind of resolution with something that you sadly don't have an answer to. But maybe at some point they'll seek those answers. Maybe they won't. Maybe it'll be too much. But I don't think anybody is probably going to work against each other. You know, they're good people. Sending you loving strength, my friend. Thank you, Tracy. Pray for us all. I pray for everyone too. Don't care, Ozzy, what you say, it's what you do. It's not what you say, it's what you do. Absolutely, I agree with that. Yeah, works. Words are meaningless if you can't follow through with action. They don't mean anything. I encountered somebody recently in my life who seems to was in the habit. They've subsequently changed that, which I'm happy to say. But they were apologizing. That was what they do. They do bad things, just apologize. And they thought this was a a good solution to things. And I say that doesn't really mean a lot if you're not willing to change that. If you're willing to change it, I will entertain it, absolutely. But after a while, it begins to sound rather hollow and empty. Pain will drive you some sort of solution, the truth. Yep, you're always seeking the truth. Well, I'm not going to make any judgment on you or your friends or who you know. That's up to you. And I would ask respectfully that you don't make judgments on my friends. But again, that's up to you, where you're at. Unless you know things for fact and spoken of these people yourself and have proof, why even bring this up? I'm not going to weigh in on this one, other than to say Tara's a friend, and my heart bleeds for everybody involved in this situation. Everybody. And I might have lost perspective of that. And for that, I apologize. Because everybody is hurting, and some people way more than others. And it's not a who's bigger, my dad's bigger than your dad. It's not about that. Everybody has pain, and we have to acknowledge that and appreciate that. Friends are people you know, not faceless people on the internet. Oh, okay. I sense hostility from you, and I'll respect that you're hostile. And if that works for you, then I'm not going to pass a judgment on it. That's between yourself. Often we have to go to sleep at night, and I like to say to myself, am I going to sleep mad at somebody or angry at somebody? And I try not to pass judgments on people. It's not the easiest thing to do at times. Sometimes you just got to take a time out, a breath. I used to be so reactionary. It's very carnal. It's not very cerebral. And it's your conscience you have to live with often. That piece of you inside. And I'm glad that you know that Tara and I don't know each other. Interesting. No hostility. Okay, this person is quite hostile, and I'll just respect that they're very hostile, and I hope that they can come to some kind of peace with that. It sounds very not like a great place to be, but again, I don't want to be judgmental. It's what works for them, and if that works for them, okay. Yeah, frankly, I don't know how other people will react to that. And if you feel good, you can actually literally go, take a breath, look in the mirror, and you feel okay? Or are you feeling like you want to reach out and maybe say something differently? Try to get along with other people? Maybe you don't. You are where you are. Okay. I respected your opinion. I'll just continue on. Tara's in here. Good stuff. Howdy. Great chat we had this morning. Always stay grounded. Don't get consumed by things. Yeah. It did. They want us to get consumed. They want us to fight with one another. And I hope in no way have I added to that. I feel as though I may have, and I'm apologize, and I'll definitely ask for God's forgiveness and hopefully for anybody who has been affected by that. But I that was never my intent. Does it feel good to try to belittle people? No one in New Brunswick knows. Tara, not even the local post office. Okay. Perhaps I should shut the stream down because it just sounds like I don't want anger. I wanted to just come on and say, here's where I'm at, and apologize if I've hurt anybody, and explain where I'm coming from, and hopefully that makes sense to some people. And we shouldn't fight with one another. I really don't want that. I really don't want to fight with anybody. And I don't want to see other people fighting with one another either. If they want to have comments, that's fine. They can have comments. I'll never delete them. I'll never ban them. I think they're on the world to see, and a permanent record of it. What was it? My mother used to say, just because there's so many lawyers in my family, right? And she's like, never put anything down in word that on paper that you're going to come to regret, because it can come back to haunt you. Well, the internet is exactly the same way. Everything is permanent, and it will always be there. Always. Always. Anything that you do on your phone, always there. Whether you have Telegram or whatever, don't fool yourself. Always a record. Some things, but what was this old saying used to be? If you have nothing to say, don't say anything at all. If you have nothing good to say, don't say anything at all. Yeah. Sometimes. But anyways, my love is here with you all, including Just Say Up Yours. I hope everybody has a super day. Please take good care of one another. God bless.